A little over a year ago, I made a video about the Bowman Syndrome, I called it. And I remembered when I was in high school and my father came home with the first personal electronic device, PED, which was a calculator. And I was just blown away. And I was like, what is this? And he goes, it's a calculator. And I said, what does it do? Adds and subtracts. It was beautiful. It had these orange LEDs. And at the top was Bowman. I was in high school. I go to college, and out of college, I become a broker. Okay. And so now I had to pick stocks. And I was thinking to myself, oh man, I'm going to sell Bomar to people. The greatest thing I ever saw in my life. So I go and I look up Bomar, and it's in bankruptcy. I'm like, whoa, how can it be in bankruptcy? This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And so what it turned out was that because in the news it says they're suing this Texas company, and this Texas company was called Texas Instrument. They made all the chips for the Beaumont computer. And then Texas Instruments said, you know what? We can wrap the plastic around the LED and build them ourselves. And of course, Beaumont, the largest calculator manufacturer in the world, was bankrupt. And who became number one? Texas Instrument, right? So I said in that video that Intel was like our Beaumont, and that the government in the end will invest in Intel because we can't afford to have our chips only made in Taiwan. So it was a good call, and it's happened, but it would have been a much better call, legendary, if I had talked about rare earth minerals as our Beaumont, because here we are, we're being Beaumont, and we have no avenue to escape this whatsoever. And you can tell by what the administration is doing. Every minute they're throwing out new things on what we're going to do, the software, and you know, we're going to just do. They're just throwing things out there, trying to find a counterweight to the um, to the rare earth minerals. And then China came out this morning and says, "Look, we don't need to meet with you. You need to meet with us." And I don't know if that turned in because now this afternoon, President Trump is now going to meet with Xi on October 30th, when on November 1st, again, Trump has threatened 150% tariffs on November 1st. Okay. So you can wait till October 30th, and we may have to, but I think really the answer is going to be with Nexperia. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, it has to be one of the most idiotic decisions in the history of business, okay? But they did it, and now Nexperia is basically closed down. Volkswagen announced today they have to close two lines next week, one Golf and another, I forget the name of it. And the rest of the European industry said they're going to have to close down because they don't have any chips, and China's not going to ship them. Forget the rare earth. They're not going to ship the chips, all right? Then, when you talk about rare earth, look at Taiwan Semiconductor came out and said we have 30 days left of rare earth minerals. If China doesn't ship soon, we can't make any more chips. All right. So it doesn't really matter about the chips if you don't have rare earth minerals. So what are we going to do here? So whatever happens to Nexperia, now if I was China, I wouldn't fix Nexperia until after October 30th, if I would even then, because Nexperia, whether they like it or not, are giving the perfect opportunity to China to show the world what happens when you FAFO, okay? And again, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just saying I don't see a way out. I don't know what anyone's thinking. So are we going to roll over when Trump meets with Xi? Yes. I think we'll give him everything. I mentioned that we might send ASML machines, and someone says we don't, and then someone said we'll never do that. But then someone else said, and another commentator said we're already doing that. So look, we're going to give them whatever they want because look at Nexperia. They're out of business. Think of our stock market. If they announce they're not going to send us any more rare earth minerals. Now, I understand we have rare earth minerals that are in stockpiling, okay? But I'll also say my bet by far and away is that's all for our military industrial complex. And there's articles appearing today saying that our military industrial complex is in trouble. All right. Look, we started this trade war. We have to figure out how we can call a truce, whatever you want to call it, because we need time. And we don't need 1 month, 3 months, 2 years. Minimum, we need 5 years, probably more like 10 to 15 years. China's been doing it for 40 years. We don't have the scientists, we don't have people studying it in school, we don't have the energy to do this. I saw a scientist come on and says, you don't even understand. He says, all rare earth minerals actually come from bauxite. So bauxite, we turn into aluminum. What's left over after we turn it into aluminum becomes the beginning of rare earth minerals. And then we have to go through all the different chemical washes and all this other stuff and spins and all this just to get the rare earth minerals. But for the bauxite, it is totally energy dependent. And yet over here, we're building data centers. We don't have the energy to make the bauxite so that we can then spend 10, 15 years trying to make rare earth minerals. We're way behind the curve. So if I was president, I know what I do. What the Chinese call it? Kowtow? I would kowtow. What do you think? Like and follow? Let me know in the comments.